Okay, where do I begin? This recommendation is something I've been trying to read for, God, I can't even remember when I started reading this. I think I got the digital copy of this book back in 2015, maybe. Like it was before the walking spray tan commercial was in the Oval Office or the White House. So I've had it for the longest time, but I'm not sure if that says more about my procrastination or my propensity for being a slow reader. But yeah, I would like to recommend this book, which, like the other ones I've recommended, I'm not done with. I'm still reading it, but I've read enough to where I feel like I want to talk about it. Like I'm at 70, I think 4% done with it. Anyway, the fight to survive is basically like, how do I put this? Like, if you've ever wondered what Boba's life like was on Camino, and before Obi-Wan showed up, you kind of get this. If you've ever wondered what happened to Boba after Jango lost his head, literally, you get that also. So the Fight to Survive is basically this. It's part of a series of books about young Boba Fett, like when he was a kid, and you kind of see what he does in the aftermath of Jango being killed, like how he kind of goes on this quest for revenge. And this is the first entry in that quest. That's more or less the fight to survive in a nutshell. I don't want to give away too much, but you see him, like you see kind of how Django had prepared you also see how Django had prepared some stuff for, like, in case he died before Boba was ready. Like, you also had that. If you've ever wondered what his relationship was with Zam Wessel, you get some of that. Who, in a weird way, I would say was kind of like, if not a mother, an older sister to Boba, which is kind of weird considering her relationship with Django. But anyway, fun book to read so far. Like, don't let my slow reading of it fool you. This is a good book. It's just I have so many damn books to read and comics to read that I take forever to get anything done. So anyway, the book, it's written well. I would say it's kind of like, I don't know what I would. It's not as good as Deceived, I would say, in terms of writing. Like Deceived is easy for me to read. The Fight to Survive is similar though in that regard, where it doesn't bore me to tears, like say, I don't know, the Bible. Actually, no, not the Bible. What's a good boring book? Well, there was that one they made me read in college. Like I swear to God, if you ever wanted a cure for insomnia, that book was the cure that ails you, or the insomnia that ails you. Anyway, yeah, this good book. If you haven't read it, I would recommend reading it. I'm almost done with it. I'm trying to get physical copies of the series now. Like I had it digitally, but now I have a physical copy. It's just I'm trying to read the whole thing physically now. Well, the series I plan on. Anyway, sorry, I tend to drone on. Like good book, I would say. It definitely gives me some insight into Boba I didn't have before, or that I kind of knew of through Wikipedia, but it kind of validates what I already knew. And it just makes me it just reaffirms that, yeah, Boba is by far one of the best characters of the criminal underworld section of Star Wars. Like in some ways, he kind of, this kind of reminds me of a conversation I had with a buddy of mine, Bats. Like how we were talking about how Bosk killed his dad to continue his story, and he tells me, okay, Bosk is a villain. Villains have less heartwarming stories to their background. It's actually more brutal. Boba's story, in a way, kind of shows this, but in a different way. Boba's dad was still an honorable man, or he had some resemblance of a code, but he still died violently. And Boba saw it, and Boba from that point on was screwed up for life. Like like you don't see your dad get decapitated and become an okay guy. I would say. Anyway, so yeah, I would say this kind of shows, like, yeah, you see the beginning of how Boba is this cold-blooded person. Like, one, he was trained by Jango to be kind of professional and be sort of like him. I mean, he was a clone of him, so he was going to be like him anyway. But he tried to doubly make sure he would be in certain regards, and also train him to be a good bounty hunter like he was, or a good Mandalorian warrior like he was. So you get some of that. Again, try not to spoil too much of the book, but that's sort of what you get with the book, and that's about all I want to reveal. Have a nice day, and I hope you enjoy the book. Remember, the game was rigged from the start.